squealer. Is that for turbo? I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners for January 14th to order. The first item on the agenda is opening with prayer. Pastor Raubush, ask that you all stand, please.
Scripture says, where there is no guidance, the people fall, but in the abundance of counselors there is victory. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for these commissioners and pray as we begin a new year that you will guide them, help them as they help us, as they lead this county. May you bless them with wisdom, understanding, discernment. May your Spirit fill them with peace, with joy, with cooperation, that they might work together for the good of all the citizens of this county. Thank you for this new day, and I offer this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Let's say the pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at the beginning of this meeting then, our first item on our agenda then will be bid openings for cars for the Sheriff's Department. John, you want to come up to the podium and yes. Once you guys get it figured out, read what's being bid, what the vehicle is, and the price, and dealer. Just one vehicle?
Which one? I don't know.
Well, on my bid, there's for a front-wheel drive vehicle and an all-wheel drive vehicle. 3-year leases. Are we bidding 2 vehicles, or are these optional bids?
Right now, what they're doing is bidding in, and then we'll decide. You guys will decide what to do.
How many vehicles are you?
We're buying 3.
Off of this bid.
All of them go together. Okay. Try to figure out what we want to go with.
Make sure I'm right.
And I think if I think you can ask. I think Dirk's here from Ford and Jim from Dan Young, and they can tell you what they put down. I mean, what they actually bid.
Okay.
What kind of vehicle? What they did.
Okay, I've got the one for Dan Young.
And the Tahoe on the
Tahoe.
What?
Just a Tahoe.
Just the Tahoe?
Just the Tahoe.
Okay, I have a bid from Dan Young for the Tahoe at the price of $27,000.
That's it. Just
All right.
one
This is from Tipton Ford. There are 2 bids. One for a front-wheel drive as per spec. County price $23,282. And the other for a all-wheel drive as per spec, $24,282 with 3-year leases on those.
Which, okay. One of them Explorer, one of them.
Those were police cars, and
Those
then
are cars.
I bid utilities to the next page should be Explorer as a sport utility.
and we have an SUV utility for an Explorer, right?
Correct, front wheel and
A front-wheel drive as per spec for $25,778. And a four-wheel drive per spec for $26,779.
Price on the police cars.
Police cars.
Yeah, we need a motion to take under advisement.
I make a motion, we accept these bids and give them to the sheriff to take under advisement and report back to us at the next meeting.
Second.
We have a motion second on the floor to take these quotes under advisement. We report back to the sheriff. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Thanks.
You have anything else today,
Yes.
John?
I got a contract, I think you guys signed yearly.
Okay.
But I need to, my contract, I guess, was my duty.
This is your contract?
I think so. It hadn't changed, nothing changed at all. Same price to start with. Same contract, I think. Commissioners and the council.
Same as that. Same as,
Yeah, as
same as.
in our previous. I didn't change anything.
I'll make a motion, we enter into the contract for the sheriff for the year 2013.
To get to the discussion part, second. What is this?
It is, since I'm on contract, Joe, that way the sheriff sell money and food money that goes back to general fund. Just
Oh,
pay
all right. On
the
the-
contract.
Food, so.
Explains what it needs to do up there, so what we do with it.
So this is just a yearly thing?
It's a yearly thing that's like,
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to enter into the contract, the annual renewal of the contract with the sheriff for 2013. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We need to sign it on the back page.
I think I fired you guys all an email to get it. We're gonna start, pick up paint today and start painting
Good deal.
the inside of the jail, stuff like that, the walls. Might have to look at a couple sump pumps in the basement of the house. Because there's a little water in the bottom of it right now, which you expect, it's an old basement. But they don't look like they're pumping very well right now. Other than that, unless you have something for me, I'll get out of here. Oh, we got 23 right now. We are up a little bit. We're low, you know, we're not gonna get the capacity. I think we're picking another one up today. But,
Three, yeah. Four, three. We did vote.
Three in favor, 0 opposed.
all the bids. So
Craig,
we
you
gotta-
need a copy of this.
That there, I gotta get signed by council, then I'll give Greg a full copy.
All right, okay.
But I would like to get a copy of the bids when you guys are done, I'll just come over and pick them up.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Okay, payroll.
There was about 9,861.87 in overtime for the highway. So that's gonna bring up the total, obviously, almost 10 grand. So, the gross payroll for January 18, 2013 is $136,553.87.
I'll make a motion, we pay payroll for check date 1/18/2013 in the amount of $136,553.04.
Second. We have a motion second to pay the payroll for January 18th, 2013 in the amount of $136,553.04. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Yes. Okay, motion carries. Being distracted. And they were successful at it. Okay, miscellaneous claims.
We have a claims total of $183,731.80.
Guys, questions, Joe?
I don't know yet. Tell me when I get there.
If there are any changes, this is what you emailed us.
Yes.
Oh, there's no changes from the document. I have no question.
I'll make a motion, we pay claims for docket date 1/14/2013 in the amount of $183,731.08.
Second.
We have a motion second to pay the claims for January 14th in the amount of $183,731.08. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
And there was a separate docket. I went ahead and paid the bonds on January the 3rd, and that was a total of $2,632.50. And I attached a sheet of everybody's name and their bonds that we paid.
Joe, did you have any questions on that?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't got to it yet.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm satisfied.
You're okay with it?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we pay the claim for the bond payment on January the 3rd, 2013, in the amount of $2,632.50.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on the floor to pay the claim for the bonds for individuals in the amount of $2,632.50. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Something we discussed about.
Not on that.
Well, I researched that with Steve Smith.
And we'll cover it under Steve.
Well, that's why I didn't raise the issue. Because you were on there last year as president, but he indicated to me that he wanted to cover it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, is Jackie going to give us a report? Bonita. Greg, we'll go ahead and we'll put Bonita in. Now we'll just kind of switch to Bonita.
I would like to ask for a contract with Suzanne Miller, CPA, to finalize the balancing of the cash book with the auditor's ledger. and she's done a lot of work that she did not get paid for. And she's asking to finish up $100 per hour with a final limit of 10,000. I don't think it'll take near that much, but she wanted to put one in case it was necessary.
Okay.
Any questions?
You guys have any comments or thoughts?
No, I have no problem with it.
So this is this is not a usual practice that.
No,
that
it
has-
is not.
It's just occurred because of the,
Because of errors and whatever. I've been here 38 years and it's never happened in the county that I know of, between the treasurer and the auditor. But it's circumstances that happen. We didn't want it to happen, but it did, so we need to get it straightened out and be able to move forward.
I think if the council's good with it, I'm more than willing to sign it. If that's what they think we need and you think so, I won't have any problem signing it if the council appropriates the money.
Yeah, I would support that as well.
well, but my only question is why we have to do this under contract with the commissioners. I understand we can't do it under part-time, but couldn't the treasurer do this under outside professional services? and just get an additional appropriation from the council. Here's my problem with doing the contract through us. The contract will be to rectify a problem within the treasurer and the auditors, and I'm not here to say, whose fault or anything. That's not important. But I do like to see the person that's working for the treasurer should be reporting to the treasurer, and not necessarily to the county commissioners.
I agree with that, but when I talked to Benita, this is what the council recommended, that we have a contract with them and we sign all the contracts. And if the council thinks this is needed, then I will support the council in their decision.
When did the council make this recommendation?
Well, I've talked to Benita, that's what she told me, on how she needs to proceed to get the extra money.
Jackie, is this process used that Joe's mentioning in other counties?
It is in some counties. There are counties who allow, it fall under your public purchase law, whatever you do in your county, but there are some counties who allow elected officials to contract for something at a maximum level. I mean, they can't go out and obviously bound the county for $100,000, but for different things at a maximum level that's set in the public purchase, there are counties out there who allow their elected officials to do that. And then there are others who force everything to come through the commissioners. It's just how you set up your public purchase laws.
Our past practice is to bring everything to the commissioners. We do not have anything established to allow the unit itself, the department, to go out and do the contract. In your recommendation, if sending it on back to the council, you can make that recommendation that Suzanne would be under the jurisdiction of Bonnie. I think you could do that. But as far as, this is the direction we've always taken with contracts at any point in time. Now, if you choose to want to make something different of that, then you need to create something giving us that power.
Just amend your public purchase agreement, but yeah, that can be done, and it is done.
And the line that she has in her budget created had to do with a transfer that we made there toward the end of the year in order to pay Suzanne for services she was doing at that point, coming in. So normally, an outside professional service line is not in the general department's budgets. So
In the treasurer's budget.
correct. It was created for this purpose only. And if you look through a lot of your other department budgets, you'll see that they do not have that either.
if it wasn't a professional services budget, I assume it'd be in the 3,900 line
Contractual or
or
somewhere.
professional service. Which the only thing the treasurer has now is $250 for dues.
What Juanita will come to the council and ask is that she transfer tomorrow night, so she'll transfer money from her part-time line over to the outside professional service or professional services, however you got it on that. And then in hopes that when we additional appropriate, she put that money back.
But the additional appropriation will be made to the commissioner's budget, right?
No, none of this comes out of the commissioner's budget. All of this comes out of Juanita's budget, the treasurer's budget. The commissioner's budget,
If it's a transfer, there would be no addition.
they will, of course, reimburse that back.
Well, yeah, it's at a
So
point in time,
that-
if you,
I mean,
if you need to put it back in
We'll
the
be
budget,
putting it
but.
back, because she's gotta have her part-time money
This
back.
is on our budget too.
So we'll be
Yeah.
putting it back. But this is out completely out for budget.
So with that explanation, this is just an administrative process.
That pretty much sums it up. It's open.
Okay. But before we go on, it's just a philosophical thing that if I'm going, and if it's anything more than an administrative process, if I'm going to write a contract for somebody, that somebody needs to work for me and needs to report to me. That's probably one of the criticisms I've had of the present thing with Maximus is it seems to me like the contractor spends about as much time reporting, or too much time reporting, and probably should have reported directly to the auditor. I realize that was a totally different circumstance, and that probably wouldn't have worked out. But I certainly think in this circumstance, reporting to the treasurer, because it's the treasurer's problem, and that office should be satisfied.
What's it take to change it?
Pardon me?
I'm willing to look at it, change that. I mean, I'm not change where she would sign her own contract instead of us.
Yeah.
Your public purchase
I
policies in the
understand.
county, the county attorney would have to rewrite your public purchase, and you put it in there, because you probably want to put a maximum dollar that you'd allow them to contract for.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm all right with it today. Hopefully, we won't have this problem again.
Yeah, we haven't done this in the past, right? So,
But I thought it's something we'll look at, see what it takes to change it.
well, it sounds like you have the blessing of all three of us, so whatever the council decides, then you can come back and we'll go from there. Jackie?
Good morning.
Morning.
My report is a little different today because we have a new commissioner. I thought I'd just kind of bring everybody up to speed on where we are in the contract at this point in time, what we've accomplished. Good morning. Oh, just enough. These are the items that we've accomplished to this point. This is a list of the funds that we've had to go through and had issues with, either income coming in, income going out, just total things out of balance, just several different issues that cause these funds to be out of balance. I'll be meeting with the surveyor and the accounts payable clerk in the auditor's office after this meeting for some recommendations to balance the drain funds. I did not balance them. I only got them to a point where they know where to go to literally balance them. If they choose to want to use some of the time for me to do that, I think it'd take me about 4 hours, but they need to, the drain funds haven't been in balance. The
between the maintenance funds and the amounts attributed to each drain for the last couple of years. It was out of balance in 2010 by a few dollars, and now it's an extreme amount. So I think there's just some entries in the surveyor's records that aren't in the auditors, and probably vice versa. So I've got some places for them to look and some recommendations for them to use to go forward that we'll be meeting after this meeting. We've worked on some negative fund balances. I've got one, the Operation Pullover Fund. I believe there's an EFT out there that hadn't gotten receipted in, but I just got the copies of the 2012 EFTs on Friday afternoon from the state auditor's office, so I can verify that we've got an EFT and how much it exactly was and where it went to. I'll be able to find where it went to then. If it went anywhere, it could possibly still be sitting in the bank, one of those EFTs not attributed to the funds. There still is an issue, and I spoke with the sheriff about this, there still is an issue with the way Operation Pullover is working, and I believe he's changing his practice from it. They were not claiming the Social Security on the grant, but yet the Social Security was being paid for out of this Operation Pullover Fund. And so when we find this last EFT and we actually know the balance, I'm sure he's going to be coming to you and the council to decide on how we want to zero this fund out. Probably pay out of the county general Social Security. It's not going to be very many dollars. It's not that much FICA, but over a period of 2 years, it's added up to a small amount of money. That's a difference. We also, I've looked through the 2011 EFTs, and I've found 5 that don't attribute to excise that were not in the ledgers at the end of 11 that I'll be working with Greg on. They're small amounts. Most of them are education plate fee numbers. There's one that's a little larger, but even it's just a couple $1,000s. But we'll be identifying them, and then, like I said, I got the 2012 late Friday afternoon, and I'll be checking to see which one of those EFTs aren't in the bank, and I have part of Suzanne Miller's spreadsheets that'll help us out in January, but we'll be locating those and getting those monies in the bank, and that will make a difference. And then just the training, I listed the training we've done there. The last funds that we have to take care of, we need to look at the payroll clearing fund. There should not be any money in that fund, and there is. And I believe part of it is the way that they've been trained to make changes in payroll that's affected money that's gotten reduced that never left the clearing fund over a period of time. And I'll be working with the payroll clerk to get that taken care of. The last thing that I have, I think, because things still tend to pop up, is Greg informed me this morning that he thinks that the Title 4D incentive monies might have been placed in the wrong place. So I'm going to get in contact with DCS and get a list of just what should have went in each fund for him, so that we can move forward and find where those incentive monies went to if they weren't in the incentive fund. The last thing I have for you is I'm bringing Greg the cost allocation plan that we contract with you annually. This is outside of the scope of the other. And in 2013, the county is going to receive almost double of what they received in 12. After doing the plan, the county will receive $49,942 this year in reimbursements, and this is those indirect cost reimbursements that are attributed to child support and 4D child support. We do the monthly each month for the prosecutor and the clerk. This is the indirect cost. This is the cost for insurance, the buildings, all of those indirect costs, the auditor staff, the treasurer staff. And I'm proud to say it doubled this year, $49,900. That's good. So I was real excited about that. And part of that is because, and it will stay, I'm convinced it will stay up there, is early in the year we found an issue where the prosecutor 4D people got shifted and weren't being paid from a place that was reimbursable. Those monies that they get back monthly make this plan better. The more they get back, the better this plan gets. So, and we've also found some new ways in brainstorming at the office of ways to amplify and make the apportionment to benefit by narrowing down the space that the 40 people sit in and just different issues, funds that they use out of the prosecutor's office or out of the clerk's office that go toward their count of checks that they make. And there's just several things that we've done to enhance that reimbursement back. So I'm very pleased to bring this to you today and start the new year with $49.9 instead of $25 that we got last year. Oh, and Greg has,
Greg moved some money, got a transfer early in the year, in December, late in December, for assistance on training and settlement.
and this is just an addendum to the contract for the 15 hours that we took to complete the December settlement. And it is specific to the 15 hours, so that it would be identified, because that's money that he has sitting in his line items to encumber for that settlement work, and we just need to get an addendum on the contract. If I'm not mistaken, the council approved the transfer back in December to get it in the right place. Yeah, from part-time to professional services. And it's great to say that people got their money on time.
Jackie, on the reimbursement on the 49,000, is that going back?
It was in the county general.
When you and I worked on it, when we talked with Sarah, is that going back to the prior year too?
This is for what happened in 11.
Okay.
This is the way the cost allocation plan works, and it's a little mind-boggling sometimes, but the cost allocation plan that I did in 12 was for 11. You'll receive the money in 13, and you don't pay us for this service until 13, after the first quarter when you'll get your first installment. So you never pay for this one.
It's paying off making all those changes.
Yeah, and it will continue. Yeah, because that keeps their percentage up in the. And there is a report here that if you want to try to read it, I can help you understand what it's saying. It's in the auditor's office.
You got a question about it?
And I think I heard you ask, but I didn't hear, this has been appropriated.
Yes. This is already in the budget, but appropriated. Okay. Then I make a motion, we approve the addendum to the professional consulting services agreement by and between Maximus Consulting Services Incorporated and the Tipton County Board of Commissioners, State of Indiana.
Second. We have a motion second to accept this addendum to the contract with Maximus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, you sign both, and you'll keep one, and I'll take one with me.
Okay, I gave that one today. This one's dated the 9th. You may want to change that.
No, it doesn't matter, because they signed they signed their half of it.
Okay. You guys have any questions for Jackie?
Just a couple. You mentioned the payroll clearing fund should be at 0. How is explain the payroll clearing fund? Is it funded and then
The payroll clearing fund is simply a place where everything goes when payroll is calculated. It goes into this clearing fund, and then it attributes out. It goes in there from all of the different funds. Where highway, health, all of it goes into this clearing fund because it accumulates, everything as far as FICA and any of the deductions. And then the net checks obviously come out of there, and also the deductions. And so garnishments, then it goes in there, and then it's written out. Health insurance, FICA, state, any deduction along with the net goes into the clearing fund and then is dispersed out of there. At the end of the first cycle of the month, the first payroll of the month, there should be the amount of group medical insurance and state taxes withheld in that fund. At the end of the second payroll for the month, it should zero out because those group medicals and the state share of withholding is then paid monthly.
So it's just a gross in, and then at the end of the month. So since we pay twice a month, that would explain it. All right.
Or I think you pay every 2 weeks, but don't you? Yeah, you pay every 2 weeks. So, but even still, after that second payroll, it should always clear out because you've pulled in both amounts of medical insurance that then is paid at the end of the month for the next month, and also your state withholding then is reported at the end of that second one because you only report it monthly. Federal taxes you report after every pay, but state is only.
So either something didn't get remitted or something didn't get debited.
Correct.
I think a little bit.
Or
of
the
both.
part of it,
I think a little bit of both.
well, and part of it is the fact that when a change is made, it's done as a manual adjustment change, and so that money is sitting in the clearing fund, does not get reversed back out and put back into whatever fund it came out of. In other words, if I paid you $100 too much, and I make that adjustment and lower it, it only lowers what's in the county general appropriation and the payroll. It's not lowering that money that's been automatically moved to the clearing fund to pay those charges. And so that money over a period of time is accumulated there. And I think that's part of the trouble. I think that's part of the trouble.
That's all I have.
Make sense?
Well, I certainly hope there's not a quiz, but I think.
There is.
Gross in, net out.
It's at 4:15 today.
Okay. Good luck. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Jim Powell or Beth Roach?
Well, how about, can we just talk from here?
Well, you're recorded if you're over here, so no, the answer's no.
No.
You have to do like everyone else.
I tried.
Jim can stand beside you, though.
That's all right. If I need
He's
things,
there for
says I'm on.
support, he's there.
Okay, well, I really don't even need that thing though. What you have before is, we've kind of, we've been talking at different council meetings throughout this whole period of time on the county finances. And since we've been in contract with Maximus, which started in June of 2012, we've had our monthly reports and everything, but we've never really connected to see exactly what has been found, what corrections have been found, where we're at today, and where we want to go in the future. Do we want to keep paying out money? Do we want to call it a stop here? Are we in good enough shape then to continue on ourselves? And that's what we would like to form a committee to kind of do. And now that committee, like one commissioner, 2 council people, the auditor, and the treasurer. And I think you can see there, it's just to review the financial information based on the findings by the consultant today, according to the scope of services of all funds, which you had like it was your Exhibit A in our original contract. Work with the consultant to evaluate the current status of all funds in accordance to the uniform system of accounting and reporting, and then report the committee's findings and recommend to the county commissioners and county council a plan for future accountability of the financial records of all funds of the county. This would only be a committee that recommends, since you are in jurisdiction over the contract. And then once once we feel our duties are complete there, then the committee would disband, unless we submit
What are you
it.
gonna call this committee?
Well, I didn't really call it, Jim said we all call it an audit committee.
It's strictly, you know, I.
We really don't even need a name. I mean, you know, I guess we could call it a finance committee, but I just didn't want to be confused with the board, of finance. You have a board of finance, so I didn't want to.
Oversight, you know,
Oversight
review-
committee.
Review committee.
Review committee.
It makes very little difference.
Anything you want to call us is fine.
And really too, that, you know, the makeup is kind of what we've come up with. Obviously, if you want to change it, if that doesn't suit your fancies anyway, then feel free to, because we're bringing this to you for your suggestions and recommendations.
Do we need a motion to form this committee? Is that what you're asking for?
Your blessing and determine if one of you'd like to serve, and then we will take it back to the council tomorrow night. And
But you want this to be a council committee? I personally think it should be.
it is, I guess, we've spearheaded it, so I guess it's something that we've talked about in council meetings for the last 2 or 3 or 4. And then since the newly elected council members have been coming, they've become in tune with that, and I know that was Jim's.
Should you guys form the committee then, and we just have a representative?
That's all you've got, basically, you'd be on there. I guess your blessing, but who would like to serve, you know, if you can kind of determine that.
You did, didn't you? Yeah, I guess I did.
I mean, I just want it to be, because anything we come back, will come back to the commissioners.
If
since
you need a
have the
vote, we
jurisdiction of
can
contract.
vote our member on now if you want.
Well, you go right ahead.
Well, the question that I have, are you planning on having reports given to you from the department heads to kind of, are you looking at this year's budget as well and trying to see?
2012,
are
otherwise we're still in the same boat.
Is the spending following what the budget was presented and voted upon by the council? I mean, are the different department heads, are you looking into that too, or?
Well, we have
Basically,
to,
I think that our thought process was, the thing that I've heard as an outsider before the start of the year is, you know, what are we getting for our money, for the contracts, you know, and I think that we need somebody to sit down with Jackie and maybe now Suzanne, since we have a new contract, on a monthly basis at a minimum, and spend 2 or 3 hours with her. I know it's going to be expensive, but very minimal to, you know, compared to what we spent total. And then, as if Joe's on that committee, he'll come back to commissioners and say, here's where we are, here's the corrections, here's things we need to do. Whoever's on the council will do the same with the council, and at least we're hearing the same things, and we're knowing where we're going. Beyond that, you know, my feeling is I don't want to expand the scope of this committee a great deal.
Okay.
If it does, sometime down the line, we need to do that, fine, we'll do it. This is kind of what I feel that needs to be done. at this
that's
point.
why I put on there, like, after this, dealing with this, we would pretty much disband.
Okay.
You know, the one thing in thinking of doing this too, we kind of get a sense of what's been done. So I think we need a little more documentation on that side, especially if we're going to file against a bond down the road to try and recoup some of this. Right now, I don't think we've got enough there to do that, as far as numbers to back us up that, you know, we know in-house how bad things were, but we've got to be able to prove that to the bond company. And I just feel like this will help in that direction too, because I'd like to see us try to recoup some of that money back.
And then that information that you have and some kind of a report would be given to John Brook, because John has said that he would be the one to move forward with any action if the information needs to be given to him.
My hope is that information will become to the commissioners, because the commissioners are, I think, the one that has to initiate any claims, so that, you know, that report should be to you guys.
Okay.
You do with it. The council can't do anything.
And with this committee, then we can also maybe determine and look at what's been done, like say where we're at, and what do we really need yet in the future. You know, I know that contract was, and I haven't seen the second contract, for the extra additional $10,000. But I know the comment was made that, you know, once we determine if we're satisfied where we're at, then, you know, we wouldn't utilize the full 10,000. And I would like to see it work that point.
I wish we'd saw this before Bonitas, because this kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It provides some accountability. Someone is reporting to someone. And maybe
this
we would have had this 18 months ago, or we would be maybe to the, or whatever.
Exactly.
So
And
I
this
certainly
will
support
work
it.
with those. You know, it'll be.
I support, I think, I would also add, I would suggest that it be a standing committee. Just, once you get through this, doesn't mean that you might meet once a year, or just on need. And I'd be happy to serve.
I agree. I think it needs to be a standing committee. I think it's a good idea.
So you're just passing on our blessing to them, and then what do we do?
I think if you'll recognize the committee as a committee, and then
Need to make Joe as the.
and make Joe your designee on there, then that way we can pass it on to the council.
You want our designee today? Then I'll make a motion that Joe Van Bever be Commissioner's designee for the proposed audit committee that the county council is going to form.
Second. Okay. Got a motion and a second to appoint Joe Van Bever to the new audit finance committee, or whatever it's called.
That sounds good too. So
Recommendation
Financial
from
Review Committee, I don't know.
the county, from Beth Roach and Jim Howe from the county council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Should say, it's good to be working together.
Yeah.
Hey, Beth, it's a pleasure to be working together.
Highway Department, Brett. Good morning. Good morning.
The only things that I really have to talk about are obviously the past weather that we've had. The past couple of weeks we had snow originally, and then over the weekend we had rain. So we had obviously high water spots that where we had to set up signs. I had guys out yesterday pretty much throughout the day setting up barricades and things. And as the vehicle are passing through where the water was standing, or possibly still is a little bit, we're dragging water up on the road, so we're just running checks on those as we speak. We have some corn stalks and some bean stubble in places. We're scraping that off to the side, and we will continue to clean it up as the weather permits hopefully before it freezes to the road permanently. I'm still dealing with truck 11. I got a meeting with Selton tomorrow on that, so we will be going over the bids that we had and just reviewing them, and as soon as we get everything right, we'll go ahead and send the order in for the truck.
Do you have the title and so forth for truck 11?
I don't think we do yet, no.
Okay.
We did have.
Greg can take care of getting the title, but that'll be one thing that you'll need.
Okay.
Depending on where that truck's going, the title will have to go with it.
Okay. We had the accident investigator there last Friday. He's what start to finish on it Friday, so that's behind us now. The last thing that I know about is we started interviews today for the full-time position that we have open right now.
Is there any other questions?
Through emails, it was your recommendation that we not accept the salvage, right? Or not?
Yes.
I we need to act on that decision?
I would think so. We can,
Well, it was put as an option from the insurance company, from MJ, I noticed that. So
Yeah,
probably would be. And then-
I just feel like we would be better off to take that $5,100 that was the salvage price on that truck and put it towards the purchase of a new car. Because we don't know how bad
I agree.
that engine and transmission are in that truck.
I think, yeah, because it is a decision that was optional to us. So.
Yeah.
Well, I move that we do not accept the salvage and take the salvage money on the truck. Then a number.
It's truck number 11.
Truck 11.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor then to accept Brett Morrison's recommendation on disposal of truck 11. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Now, give me a summary of what your plan is to replace that truck.
Well, we already had bids on trucks from replacing 2 other trucks.
Right. Those have been approved and appropriate.
Yes.
Which we had about eight vendors actually bid on all of our trucks. That was
Yeah,
right.
something like that. There were several of them.
It was a bunch.
That was the neighborhood of 143,000 per truck or something.
Yeah, that's pretty close. So what our plan is now is to just take those same specs, because we had specs for tandems and trikes and truck both. Go ahead and take the tandem spec and replace the tandem that got wrecked.
Okay. And then that is what your additional appropriation that you're going to ask for tomorrow night?
And Selking International was the low bidder on the tandems.
Yes.
And they still have the truck that they bid.
Then truck 11, how old a truck was that?
I believe it was an
03.
03, I believe.
It was an 03.
03.
So when would it have been in the rotation? When would it have been replaced?
The rotation got,
Wait, what I guess I'm getting at is if you know, we spend $100,000, if the council appropriates $100,000 and you buy the truck, then are we going to not replace the truck maybe next year or the next in the rotation, since this one was unexpected?
I would hope to have something figured out so that we can continue the updating, because I don't want to fall any further behind.
All right. Well, I'm just sure it's a question the council will ask.
Yeah.
More questions?
That's all I, thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Thank you. Phil?
Morning.
Morning.
The first thing I have, this is for County Road 560 West, the federal aid project that's going on. We have essentially the appraisal work has been completed on the 3 properties that we need to, or 3 parcels that we need to acquire as part of that project. There is the Larry Bowling property, which is parcel 1. Parcel 2 is UWA Acquisition Company. I think that is what used to be
U.S. reduction. Wabash.
Wabash Alloy is the Wabash Alloy.
Original.
And then Norfolk and Southern Railway. We have, basically I have each one of those, which I emailed you, this spreadsheet. The Larry Bowling parcel, the statement of basis for just compensation will be $11,500. And that basically, if you go down through these statement of justifications, it's $8,400 for the total land. There was damages, setbacks and such of $3,100 for the $11,500. The other parcel is the let's say for the UWA acquisition company was $3,300, and for Norfolk and Southern was $1,650, for a total of $16,450 as far as what offered would be ended up being paid. If you guys will approve those as far as the numbers, and then also approve the Brett, who is the employee of responsible charge, the ERC, to sign the statement of basis of compensation, as well as the waiver valuations for the two parcels. Now, the two parcels that are less than $10,000, they have what's called waiver valuations. They are not specifically appraisals because they're less than $10,000. That's what the statement is. It's called waiver evaluations. So that's basically what I need you guys to
Do you need
approve.
two motions or just one?
I think just one, just that.
Do we accept
that you accept these, and that Brett, as the ERC, can sign for you.
ERC.
ERC.
CRC.
Employee of responsible charge.
ERC. Okay. And what's the evaluation sheet called?
The statement of basis of just compensation.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept the statement of basis just compensation and name Brett Morris as our ERC.
Well, he is the ERC, allow him to sign those statements.
Okay.
Is what you're really asking.
Okay.
For the county.
That's my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to accept this statement of basis of just compensation for property associated with 560 West project. Yeah, I believe the amount was $16,450. Is that what the total?
Correct.
And then also that we appoint Brett Morris as the ERC for signing papers related to this project. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Now, are these the last, for these three properties?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
You've got all the property?
Right. And basically, the railroad, obviously, for the crossing, there was a little corner cut on what used to be the Wabash Alloys site, because County Road 100 south there connects in and bring it up. We have to cut in that. And then also the Bolton property on the south side of the railroad was connecting in 100 south of the south side.
Can you give us any kind of an update on that project, on the 560 West project?
As far as
construction?
Construction is still anticipated for 2014. This is one of the processes. Once this is done, offers will go out to those property owners. If they accept, then we'll have those property, and then we'll probably look to be bid. I forget when the bid date is. I'll have to get back to you guys, because I don't have.
Is it gonna be like fall or?
It would be fall with construction in the spring, most likely.
Okay.
So, and, everything else is about ready to go. We still have several issues that need to be resolved. Number one being the crossing cantilevers at the railroad, there that the state says the railroad has to have. We are appealing that. And we also got them to realize that we didn't need a full pavement analysis like they were going to charge, so we're not going to have to do that, which is going to be another $8,000.
So the rest of 560 will be the same base, same surface as what we have on the existing part instead of going to concrete.
Exactly, we don't have to bid asphalt and concrete. We'll just
Okay.
bid asphalt.
Well, one thing that we will have to remember is when the bids go out, that we do not re-enter into the contract on the farm ground with Mr. Burke. Yes, but we will not do that until the bids are sent out, until that process starts, because there's no need to do it until we know where we are in the process.
Right, the right of way there that, will get this, torn up, so.
But the notice on the farm ground should be sent out probably around the 1st of September, before tillage starts after harvest.
And doesn't the contract have some wording about development?
Yes, but we're not doing anything, we're not to the point in development that we can, I don't think, exercise or move forward on that language on the option in the contract. But when the bids go out, that's a different story.
Well, we wouldn't want, let's say you went out there and planted winter wheat, and, we'd have to destroy that.
We have to pay compensation for
We
it.
don't want that to happen.
That's right. So we might consider that, and when we start the process of the bids and so
Yeah.
forth.
I will send, in the next report, I will send you a full update of the as far as dates and everything for all this to take care of.
Okay. All right.
Bridge number 8, which is County Road 725 West over Keegan Ditch, near County Road 350 South. First of all, I need signatures on a title sheet for the board, so we can bid this.
We have to have a motion for this, or we just
That-
sign this to start the process.
Start the process. And as you are signing that, you will need to make a motion. I'd like to set the bid date to March 25th, with advertisements on March 8th and 15th for Bridge 8. And this is putting both replacement of Bridge 8.
So the bridge there now, or just a culvert, or?
No, it's a bridge now. It's rated, I think, 12 ton or 10 ton. One of the few undersized structures that we have right now. Plus it also has a severe sag in it.
What were those dates again that you gave us?
Bid date of March 25th, advertising on March 8th and 15th.
You need a motion for that?
Yes,
It's for Bridge 8.
Bridge 8.
I'll make a motion, we set the advertising date for Bridge 8 for March the 8th and the 15th, and the opening date, March 25th.
Second. We have a motion second to advertise for Bridge 8, replacement on March 8th and 15th, and then the bid opening date will be March 25th. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Notice your cap there.
Sorry, I cheated.
Like the dog.
I was nervous at it. And then finally, Bridge 61, which is County Road 400 North, over Irwin Creek. It's just east of Windfall. That project, we didn't build it last year because of the wind farm projects. And we'll wait until all the chip seal and everything, work is pretty well done over there. So we will need to do, we had money appropriated in 2012 for that project. We will and we didn't build it. So this year, we'll have to additional appropriate that money. It's basically what was there last year, we'll additional appropriate for this year. So I'm just letting you know, we're gonna start the paperwork. Sherry will provide it to you for that additional appropriation. We'll look to bid that sometime probably in July for construction in late August, early September, assuming the wind farm, everything on the wind farm is completed over there, the shipping seals and stuff. That's it. That's it from me. If there's any questions. Pier 601 is kind of 400 north over Berlin Creek. It's east, just east of.
Okay.
What's the wind farm's schedule for being complete with the roads over there?
That's one of the things, Brett and I today, we're going to meet with the Madison County engineer, kind of go over some schedules with him. We'll know more in the next couple of weeks.
But it won't be started when the weather breaks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it is to be completed this year, I assume.
Yes. And we just want to make sure that, and Brett's got some interesting ideas as far as maybe ways of saving the county some money. So, you know, as far as, so we're going to talk to the Madison County engineer a little bit about that. Yes. And go from there.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, thank you.
Craig, do you want to give Steve Edson a call and tell him that we're ready for
6063.
Steve and Christina?
Steve will stop by and get Christina.
Did you say you talked about it?
He didn't indicate whether he was.
They can do that.
You want to take the decommissioning agreement right now all the way to the next achievement? Okay, today we need to present and approve Tipton County decommissioning agreement with Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC, and I will proceed first before a motion to read this. Tipton County decommissioning agreement. This decommissioning agreement dated as of today, January 14, 2013, and effective today by and between Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, and Tipton County, Indiana. Whereas the company desires to build a wind energy conversion system in Tipton County, Indiana, the WEX. Whereas pursuant to Section 522.11 of the Tipton County zoning ordinance, the county is required to formulate a decommissioning plan and to provide financial assurance for the decommissioning of each WEX wind generating unit and related improvements. Whereas specifically, the company is required to post financial resources to cover the cost of decommissioning the WEX in the form of a performance bond, surety bond, letter of credit, or other security acceptable to the county. Whereas the company shall post either a performance bond, surety bond, or letter of credit as it may elect, or other security acceptable to the county for the decommissioning costs upon the terms and conditions more fully set forth below. Whereas the company and the county have agreed that the county may use the salvage value of the wind generating units located within the WEX to cover the decommissioning costs in the event the company and its lenders fail to complete the decommissioning in accordance with the ordinance. Whereas the company has or will enter into certain lease and easement agreements with the landowners within the WEX area. And whereas for purposes of this agreement, except as set forth in Section 8.4, the term company shall include any successor in interest to company, including an assignee or lender. What is the difference? Well, the resolution, we've already passed this one. Well, no, that's the decommissioning agreement. This is the resolution.
That's a resolution for the decommissioning agreement.
Pardon?
You do this first and then
Okay.
adopt it.
And then adopt the resolution. Okay, then. That is the agreement. A resolution, Board of Commissioners of Tipton County, Indiana, approving a decommissioning agreement with Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC and certain other matters in connection therewith. Whereas Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC is contemplating the development and construction of the first phase of a wind-powered electric generating facility in Tipton County, Indiana, as further described in the Economic Development Agreement dated December 3rd, 2012, between the company and the county. And whereas pursuant to Section 522.11 of the Tipton County zoning ordinance, the company is required to formulate a decommissioning plan and to provide financial assurance for the decommissioning of each Wex wind generating unit and related improvements. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Tipton County, Indiana desires to approve the execution of a decommissioning agreement between the county and the company, a form of which has been presented to the Board of Commissioners on the date hereof, the decommissioning agreement, which I just read. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Tipton County, Indiana, that the Board hereby finds that the execution and delivery of the decommissioning agreement are in the best interests of the county and its citizens. The Board is authorized and directed to execute the decommissioning agreement in the name and on behalf of the county, and the auditor of Tipton County is hereby authorized and directed to attest the execution of such agreement with such changes and modifications as such persons deem necessary or appropriate to effectuate this resolution. Said person's execution thereof to be conclusive evidence of the approval of such changes. The members of the board, the county council, the auditor of the county, the legal counsel of the county, and other appropriate officers of the county are hereby authorized to take such actions and execute all such instruments as are necessary or prescribed to effectuate this resolution. This resolution shall be in full force and effective from and after its adoption. Duly adopted on this 14th day of January 2013 by the Board of Commissioners of Tipton County, Indiana. So you've heard the decommissioning agreement, whereas is the details in it, and the resolution.
Board approved the agreement.
No, we have not, because we have not, because this document is brand new, because this was not part of the economic development. It was, the economic development agreement attested to this, that it was coming. This was just sent to us this past week by Rick Hall.
So we got to enter into the agreement and then the resolution. We just have to enter two motions.
The resolution has to be first.
The resolution has to be first.
The resolution, I guess I can ask the same questions for both documents. The resolution and the agreement was prepared by Rick Hall and Barnes.
Rick Hall and
Was
Mary
was
Soliday.
negotiated.
And yes.
And Rick Hall is, as I assume, then Rick Hall acted as our agent in the negotiations.
Yes, he did. And he has given his recommendation to approve this. And this agreement is similar to the one we do.
Yeah, because I compared the two. Well, this is the first time I've been officially involved in this, and I just got a couple things I'd like to say. It just seems to me like that maybe in this process, we've probably got this, as far as I'm concerned, a little confused. I really think that Prairie Breeze should have asked for their permit And then we would have went into the decommissioning agreement, the abatement process and some things like that. But that's just a process thing that kind of bothers me. And
Steve, do you have any comment to that question or concern?
I wasn't really prepared, but the zoning ordinance suggests, and it's not a requirement, that the economic development agreement be negotiated prior to the going to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the conditional use. Now, it's not a requirement, it's more of a suggestion. And frankly, I can't recall any specifics regarding the road use agreement or the decommissioning agreement in terms of sequencing, in terms of the recommendations of the board. I should say recommendations of the zoning board.
well, I guess just a couple little things that and these are not deal breakers. I don't mean that. I just think when you have your original agreement, which the commissioners signed, you have your decommissioning agreement, and you have your abatement hearings and that process. I think it puts probably a bias to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The other thing I think it does is, and I realize that the applicant is paying the bills on all this to the tune of $65,000. It just seems to me like it's a little back. Having said that, I move we approve the resolution number 2013-1.
Sorry. Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor to approve resolution 2013-01. It's a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Tipton County, Indiana, approving a decommissioning agreement with Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC and certain other matters in connection therewith. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Now on the agreement itself.
I move we approve the Tipton County decommissioning agreement dated January 14, 2013.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second then to approve the decommissioning agreement dated January 14, 2013. Agreement between Prairie Breeze Wind Farm LLC and Tipton County, Indiana. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Mike, did you have a comment, or were you just?
Just got to leave.
Okay. All right, Steve, go to the microphone, please.
With your permission, this is kind of a two-part thing, so if with your permission, Christina would present the ordinance to you.
Okay. All right.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Doing well, how are you? The Tipton Planning Commission and the Health Department would like to propose that a new county unsafe building ordinance be adopted by the Board of Commissioners. I have created a packet for you, and it includes the current county unsafe building ordinance, the proposed ordinance, as well as the state rule. The state rule, I highlighted it. I highlighted the portions I thought would be of most interest to you as the Board of Commissioners, and I've also included a chart showing the major differences between the two ordinances to show how the proposed ordinance will be much more efficient and detailed than the current ordinance we have. Our purpose today is just to give you the ordinance to review, and then at a later date we can set a time for a meeting to hopefully then discuss any questions you might have and then hopefully adopt the ordinance. It has not yet been reviewed by a lawyer, so if the Board of Commissioners wishes to have that done while they're reviewing it, then that would be, you can do that. The proposed ordinance does assign the Board of Commissioners as the new hearing authority. As you can see in the chart, the current ordinance has the Board of Health as the current hearing authority. However, with there being two departments being the Enforcement Authority, both the Planning Commission and the Health Department, we feel it would be much more efficient and make more sense for the Board of Commissioners then to be the hearing authority. And then also the Board of Commissioners also meets much more often than either of our boards. Like the Health Board only meets once a quarter. So the hearing authority's responsibilities are detailed in Section 7 of that state rule, and as you read those responsibilities, you can see why it'll be better for us to have the Board of Commissioners with them meeting more frequently be the hearing authority. And then one other important aspect of the new rule, of the new ordinance being proposed, is it will have an unsafe building fund established, and it'll be with this fund we can then go in and clean up properties where the owners are refusing to clean them up, such as if we had to gone in and clean up the Paul Davis property that the commissioners remember we worked on last year. That one has been resolved. Or other properties where we have to do big demolition. That way there's money already there in a fund that's specifically assigned to that. The way that fund would be funded, the Planning Commission is willing to increase fees on building permits and have money go into there, and then if there were civil penalties on owners not cleaning up properties, forfeited performance bonds, all of that goes into that fund. We are requesting that the Board of Commissioners think about going to the County Council to have seed money requested. We don't have a specific amount that we would request, but just to keep in mind that with the planning's experience in the past, it costs about $13,000 to demolish a residential property. So if we were to just go off of his fee increases and the performance bonds, then it would take a very long time to build up a substantial amount. So that's why we're requesting the seed money. And so that's my part. Do you have any questions on the actual ordinance?
No, not today.
Yeah, until you read it.
You guys either one have any questions for her?
No, just a couple things. I assume the Planning Commission will be making a recommendation back to us on the fee schedule.
Yes.
The city does it on a per square foot basis on new construction. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have a $25 minimum charge, and then if the square footage is over, I think the break-even point is 1,250 square feet, then there's a 2 cent per additional, 2 cent per square foot additional. And that's the way the city does it. And the city, by the way, as you're here, where the Board of Works is the hearing authority for the city unsafe building ordinance.
I know that I was on the City Plan Commission when that was enacted. It wasn't particularly popular with builders, but in the absence of a better idea.
Well, this thing, did Christina mention that this is replacing what's called the unfit for
Human habitation.
Yeah, unfit for human habitation. That's the existing ordinance, which really is structured like an unsafe building ordinance, but it's deficient, as Christina pointed out, in several respects. And so anyway, that's.
Does this give you more latitude in enforcement, or?
Yes. With this one, we can have the Board of Commissioners actually enact the civil fines and civil penalties and also performance bonds without having to go to court first. There's also the option to go to court, but I'm hoping with this we can actually work more quickly. For example, last year I had the Alvarez case. I mean, slightly different because it dealt with the septic system, but it took took about 6 to 10 months before, from my first involvement with the case, before it went to court, and that was something that needed to be fixed like immediately. And so I'm hoping the Board of Commissioners, it'll be much more efficient and smooth and less costly to the county as well without the court fees. So that's another positive with the proposed ordinance versus the current.
Any other questions?
I did have one addition if I could, and that was, this process, since we're into this process and it involves Title 15 of the existing code dealing with land use, there's a deficiency on the current building code. Our county code does not reference the state building code. And then there's a very brief section in the existing county code that refers to enforcement. And there's an enforcement authority in there, but it doesn't say what it is enforcing. It's really deficient. And then when I checked with the state, the Department of Homeland Security now houses this, what was the Fire and Building Group, known as the Fire and Building Group previously. They informed me that Tipton County does not have a building code on file with them, so they have nothing for Tipton County, and it's pretty obvious that our code does not reference that. Does not reference the building codes that the state recommends that we be enforcing. Now, in point of fact, that's what we're doing now. We are, as far as how we operate, we're operating under the International Building Code for commercial structures and for residential structures. However, our code doesn't do that. So what I put in front of you is a sample building ordinance that the state gives us, that they put out for counties, and I'd like to suggest to the commissioners that when you're considering this unsafe building ordinance, if you would also consider the text in this building ordinance. And what I would do is, this ordinance, the building ordinance, must be approved by the state. They require that they have an advanced look at what it is we want to pass locally, and then we file it with them, and to show that we're actually doing what the statute says we should be doing if we're going to be operating with a building code enforcement and so on. So what I'm asking is that while you're taking this unsafe building ordinance proposal under advisement, that you also take this other building ordinance under advisement, and then we can come back to you with an overall ordinance amendment that would add, or I should say replace, these two sections. The unsafe building ordinance would replace the unfit for human habitation, and then this building ordinance would replace that enforcement section, all under Title 15, and then we should be pretty square.
Is there a need for John Brook to review these changes as well?
No, I would say not. The state is going, and this I'm not deviating really from what they have as the sample building ordinance. I have no reason to believe that they would change anything. So I would say if you determine that you want to have John Brook look at the unsafe building ordinance, that's one thing, but I think it'd be a waste of effort and money on the other one.
All right. Do you have a recommendation?
The one. Yeah. We need John Brook probably.
I think we should. The unsafe building ordinance proposal, I think John should review that, because that changes the.
You have it electronically?
Yes, I'll be happy to send it to him if you'd like.
I'll make a motion. We have Mr. Edson send the new unsafe building ordinance proposal to John Brooks for his recommendation.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to request John Brook to review the new unsafe building ordinance proposal. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Great, then just for a little bit in terms of instruction, and so should Mr. Brook come back and approve that form, and would you like for us to prepare the ordinance for you that would be adopting those two things that we proposed? You know, should you determine that you want to proceed like that?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it would be appropriate for you guys to do it. If you
Okay.
can, then will.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. This is a joint recommendation between the planning commission and the health department, right?
The unsafe building ordinance is.
Exactly.
It seems to me that the building ordinance itself is really, it's a state requirement that we get in compliance, so that really wasn't run by the plan commission. But it was to the extent that I've got on my 2013 work program that be done, and they approved doing that.
Then are you going to send this back to us in legislative ordinance form?
Yeah, I'm hopefully that the state's got this in a Word document, so we're gonna have to retype this whole thing, but we will. We'll redo it one way or the other.
Yes, sir.
Pass it on, we gotta have a public hearing.
Right, but it's got, you're going to.
Yeah, this is just a sample ordinance, yeah, we would clean it up.
And then does it have to be a separate ordinance for the fee schedule change?
Yeah, that's another matter. I mean, if there's the other matter, I'm not sure if your process, if indeed you're gonna make the recommendation for the seed money, that would come from the county council, it would seem. And then we're gonna make an amendment to our fee schedule to add some sort of a fee that's gonna build up an unsafe building ordinance. I think we come through you and then go to the council, as I recall that process, but I'm not sure. Greg, you probably know that better than I. But we'll figure that out.
Well, I think that the square footage thing that the city has been as successful as it can be. You'd like to see it spend a lot more money, but it does, you know, it's regressive when you start putting it on new construction. But new construction is at some point the problem you're trying to solve now.
And then this is a fine point, but the county has no square foot component whatsoever to any of its building permits, so it would in likelihood just be a flat fee. The city has square foot component, the county does not, so I kind of hate to inject a square foot component into the county.
But it is proportional.
It's proportional.
Doesn't add up very fast though beyond the 1,250 square feet though, at 2 cents a square foot.
Well, those big pole barns, we'd just be knocking them down.
What you want? Okay, build it bigger.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Christina.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Okay. Take care of the minutes from January 2nd. Oh, okay, Chuck?
Sorry for not being on the agenda, but I was wondering if it's possible to make a change on the appointment for the, I don't know if you guys have both, and I talked about, the 911 Advisory Board. The reappointments were done with putting Mike Pratt as the county EMS representative, but towards the end of the year, and I do apologize for not getting this to you guys earlier, I didn't realize that the 3rd was the day and I was tied up over there. But the 911 Executive Board throughout last year decided that what we'll do is sort of have a rotation, because there are 3 stagnant positions: the sheriff, the fire chief, and police chief, and then there's a county fire representative and then a county EMS representative. And to give people equal opportunities to serve on that board, what we decided is to mix it up every once and again. And Mike Pratt has served as the EMS representative, done a fantastic job for years. And last year, just through some discussion, it was decided that since SEALS does our county EMS service, that they should have a voice and sit on that board. So it was our recommendation to see if you guys would appoint Casey Sheedy as the SEALS representative to the 911 Executive Board for the county EMS.
We've already appointed Mike.
Right, I didn't know if it was possible to change it. If not, then we'll talk about this next year.
You guys have any comments? personal thought is we leave it as it is since we've already made the appointment.
Who did we appoint?
We put Mike Pratt back on the joint 911 executive, page 2.
Page 2.
Phil, did you approach him and ask him if he'd do it again? That's what I had in my notes here anyway. All right, this is, you've updated this, so haven't you? Yes. So that's why it's on here. Right. To end in 13. Here's the one. It did end in 12. Yeah. I don't have a problem with your recommendation, but I don't like reversing ourselves.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, that's just my opinion, that this is a joint board, so whatever you guys decide to do.
Well, since I'm the one to ask Mike if he wanted to be reappointed to it.
Fair enough.
I kind of feel the same way.
Okay,
I mean,
easy enough, I wanted to ask, so, all right, well, get it next year, change, so no big deal. All right.
Show up early the way you.
Fair enough, thank you.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind though for appointments for next year, and you can.
I already got on my calendar.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. How about the January 2nd minutes? I was just going to ask Greg, if this is this historically the amount of detail that you've been providing, or is it more or less?
I have not been putting, I did not put in the exhaustive discussions. But
I can see a big difference.
This is much more manageable for you?
Significantly so. It can take 5.5 hours or more to get one set of minutes with the additional detail that is available on the recordings when needed.
I would agree. 5.5 hours of minutes are certainly not.
That's the minimum it takes to do one set of minutes.
Particularly since there's a record available.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. The City Planning Commission, he says we appointed Linda Winkleman. She was already the Democrat. She did not replace Jason Hare.
Well, she was appointed as the Republican.
Yeah. That's an error.
We have not made the.
We haven't made the Democrat one.
Right, and Mayor Hammonds called me this morning and said he had, I believe, 6 or 7 recommendations for that, and he's going to email it to me, and I told him.
Yeah, but on the minutes.
On
Right,
page
but
2
on the
at the
minutes,
bottom,
right.
City Planning Commission. What Phil's saying is that that's an error. Linda Winkleman is a Republican, we reappointed
We
her
reappointed
to
her
to the position she already held. We didn't do anything with the,
So you could just eliminate as a replacement for Jason Hare, just put an R behind Linda Winkleman's name, right?
Yes. There's another reappoint.
what are you at?
On the Emergency Management Advisory Council. Need to strike off the word "re."
Because you served on there last year.
Yeah.
Emergency Management Advisory Council. Just should be appoint rather than reappoint.
anything else? You good?
No, not yet. We went through those, and the longer you go through, the more confusing.
On the last page, Mike Lee is LDE, not LEA.
When's it do? Well, 7 o'clock.
7 or 8?
It's 7.
Is that too early for you?
Oh, no, I just walked down the alley. I just,
Last notice, he's been changing their data.
we need a report from the video committee, don't we?
Yes.
Oh, you'll get the extensive.
Yeah, but that's.
We'll be here till 3 or 4 o'clock.
It's just coming
What'd you
Friday.
ask?
Coming Friday.
Pardon me?
It's just coming Friday.
I know.
Third Friday, I think.
I'll have to ask the chairman.
Good luck.
I'll take a chair.
Find anything else?
No, I don't see anything else.
Then I make a motion, we accept the minutes of the January 2nd meeting with noted corrections.
Second. You have any notes? Okay, we have a motion second to approve the January 2nd Commissioners' minutes with corrections. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Was there a reason I got 2 copies of the appointments?
No,
Just lucky?
you just got, yeah, you got lucky.
Don't know. Haven't looked at it.
Today's 14th,
Yeah.
We have to go on this payroll schedule.
We would not include that in. Okay.
Then I'll make it, you ready for that?
Yeah, we can knock that out.
I'll make a motion, we accept this payroll schedule for 2013.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to approve the payroll schedule for 2013 as presented. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. What's this covered bridge certification? Is there something there?
State requires that we certify the number of covered bridges.
Oh, we should take care of that when Phil Beer was here.
I did that with my eyes closed.
Oh, okay. How many did you find?
Any?
Do we have to report on nothing?
You have to report on nothing.
We need one copy of this. Sorry.
I put a roof on mine.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Only government would have you reporting on nothing.
Great.
Thank you.
Now we got more than one of these to sign?
Yes. I have to send them to the state and I'll get a copy for my workers.
Okay. I move that we certify the covered bridge certification for Tipton County.
Second.
We have a motion second to certify the
covered bridge certification for Tipton County, that the number of covered bridges per Indiana Code 8-14-1-10 is 0. All those in favor say aye. Motion carried. What's up? I don't know, we'll find out here in a minute. Probably one of this.
You'll sign 2 of these copies.
Yes.
Oh.
We'll see the report on that courthouse security.
I will. One thing that we need, housekeeping thing we need to take care of, the finance committee, we need to meet in January. We need Greg to contact Bonita, have her report ready for the finance committee, which is 3 commissioners, the auditor and the treasurer, and I suggest that we do it at 8:30. Another 30 minutes before our next meeting is sufficient. That's the way we've done it past it. Normally, 30 minutes, is that okay?
It has to be advertised too, Joe.
Does it?
Doesn't that have to be advertised too, Joe?
Well,
I think it does. Yeah, the finance committee, you have to advertise that we'll have it at 8:30.
How many days in advance of the meeting? 48 hours?
Well, the same as all regular meeting.
Okay. Yeah, probably 48 hours. So don't forget to advertise that anytime between now and 2 days before the meeting. Well,
I left it
2
even.
business days. Yeah, I left it even on the now. Okay, that's taken care of. Okay. Stephen, did you have something you want to, would you mind, we need to consider the North Central, our agreement with the larger group. And that is, we're supposed to decide on that. They want a recommendation from us in January. Or,
The SENS document or the regional organization?
well,
There's 2.
we haven't done either one.
We haven't done either one.
We were hoping to get the SENS document, the resolution approving that prior to the end of the month so we could submit that to EDA.
Okay.
And then the regional organization discussion, the counties agreed that they would take a look at that during the first quarter
Okay.
and either approve or choose not to participate by April 1st.
Okay. So do you have the SEDS document, the resolution ready to do? Can you get that to us?
Yes.
The official one that we could take care of for our next meeting?
Yes. Would you like me to send that to you?
Guys?
Yes. Send that to you?
Send it to the auditor.
Okay.
That way that could be part of our agenda for our next meeting in January.
Very good.
We're probably going to go ahead and ask for additional appropriation tomorrow's council meeting.
Well, but we have the first quarter on the membership part of it. He's saying that they want the counties to decide on that by the end of March.
It would take 60 days to get the vote.
Yeah, but the matter, Stephen, you have an idea when, in other words, if this coalition is formed, when will the money be required of the counties that participate?
Well, there's going to be an administration startup time frame. We still don't know exactly how you're going to be organized. If it was my gut talking, I would say you probably are looking at late second, maybe the third quarter is when you would need funds.
That answered our question. Thank you.
Now, some of the other economic development organizations, they're coming back and making presentations to the commissioners or to the council. I know you guys are in you know, a transition here in Tipton County. Is there something that we can do to help that process?
I think it'd be good for them to come and present to the council kind of what it's all about.
And it'd probably be a good idea to schedule that and also discuss that with our new economic development director.
And I met Jeff last week or the week before last. Okay. Is Linda still, you know, in the picture, or is she no longer around?
She is still here in an advisory position for a couple of months.
For the Lido, though.
Just for the Lido.
Not for the county.
Yes, she's working for the Lido.
I don't suppose the council has been copied on the document either.
I doubt it.
I was, but I don't. That would probably be a good idea. It's a long, how many pages is it? But
just that document?
Just that says document, so Greg can give you the email addresses
and you can distribute.
Okay. Any other questions?
I could forward it, but I guess I'd rather it came from the source.
Think it'll have any more influence than us? I'll go ahead and introduce it with Jim and then council members over here.
Hey, yeah, and since I've got him up to the microphone now, this is Stephen Ray. For those that don't know, Stephen Ward, he is an employee of Okra, and he's our representative. Steve Okra.
Okra.
Stephen, why don't you just kind of give us your credentials for a minute, and this SEDS document and all your participation in that. Why don't you just give us a quick synopsis of what's going on with that and what it is, and that we had local representation served on the committee working on that, and then now it's the final document, and why we're even doing it.
Okay. My name is Stephen Ray. I'm with the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, or OCRA, or OCRA. We are a state agency. Our focus is on community economic development. And ballpark about 2009 to 2008 maybe, my boss, David Terrell, was contacted by the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration. Basically, EDA was looking to provide some assistance to Howard County and the region in response to the economic downturn that we were experiencing. EDA offered my office a grant to create a comprehensive economic development strategy, or a SEDS. It was a ballpark, about a 2-year process where 6 counties, Fulton, Cass, Miami, Howard, Tipton, and Clinton counties, went through a strategic planning process, much like what you all have done here locally with the county comprehensive plan and the city comprehensive plan. The difference being that we're looking at regional approaches to our community and economic development efforts. Each county held at least 2 local meetings that OCRA facilitated. There was ballpark somewhere in the neighborhood of about 12 attendees at each of our meetings. Then at the end of the process, we brought all of the counties and the participants together at IU Kokomo to finalize the strategies that were the priorities for the region as a whole. The document itself is set up so each county could just pull out their section and utilize that internally. But the strength of the document is the fact that it looks collectively for opportunities for collaboration and cooperation, and as resources become more difficult to obtain, it's this document that will open up doors to resources that without, that door is closed. We finalized the document in December, and OCRA needs to return that document, submit it to EDA for approval by the end of this month. The other aspect is the regional planning organization, which use that as a generic term. Our region has had a SEDS in the past, and our region has worked in a informal regional approach over the last 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. The one challenge that we've failed to overcome is sustainability. Having a SEDS is a great document, but you need somebody to implement those strategies and take on those action steps. And trying to do it informally or on a volunteer basis is difficult. And so one of the conversations that we had here in Tipton County and throughout the region was that there needed to be an organization responsible for the SEDS, the updating, and the implementation of that particular document. And that's the second request, I guess, that you guys will look at over the next 90 days.
And the motivation, really, the bottom line for this, and he mentioned this, was funding that is available if you go through this process. If you don't go through the process, the federal money is not available to this economic development, the North Central Indiana Economic Development Group. If we don't take this step, then there are federal dollars that are not available to projects within that area.
And one of the most often asked questions is, regionalism versus, local control. Regionalism is a local issue, and our approach has always been that we want to work at the ground level at the local with the local units of government and help each unit of government achieve its goals. And rising waters lift all boats, basically. We're not looking really at Tipton County to invest in a project in Howard County or vice versa. We're really wanting to identify projects that are regional as such. The US 31 corridor, there's been some discussions over the last 2 years about creating an economic development strategy from Tipton all the way up to Fulton County. That's a regional project, and that's when the SEDS comes into play, and that's when the regional organization comes into play as well.
Anyone have any questions for Stephen?
Just one, when you talk about region, what constitutes a region?
In this case, there's 6 counties: Fulton, Cass, Miami, Howard, Tipton, Clinton. But really, regions don't really have boundaries. For this case, it does, because that's what EDA requested. But it doesn't preclude Tipton County from working with Hamilton County on a project, or Madison. But in this case, it's those 6 counties.
But there are groups around us that are already organized as well.
Yeah, there's ballpark about 70 counties that are currently served, 70 of our 92 that are currently served by regional organizations that have the comprehensive economic development strategies, and they have greater access to more funding programs than what our region currently has.
All those different regions are specified in that SEDS report, as I remember, right?
There's a map
of the state and their color code.
Okay. Oh, one question?
So just a question, so I understand, if I'll say Tipton County had a project that they wanted to pursue being a member of this organization, is that going to be something that's going to be thumbs up or thumbs down in that region? Or does the county get to proceed? Because, I mean, I would hate to see one county or any organization tell another county how to run their business. And the further we get away from, government is an interesting thing. You know as well as I do, it's the kick the can down the road. And the further away you get away from the project, the less they know about it. I wouldn't want an organization controlling our county and what they would want to pursue, is what I'm trying to say.
Very good question. It's a local issue. If you have a project here in Tipton County that you want to move forward,
That's up to you to move it forward. Now, the regional organization will be there to provide support services if, depending on staffing and time and things of that nature, that regional organization may or may not be the main provider of technical assistance. You may need to go out and contract with the grant administrator, much like you are right now. But it's purely a local decision. The regional body works for the elected officials, not the other way around.
And my concern is that if we're not at the table, then we don't have a say. And if we are at the table, then we can have our input heard. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephen.
So I'll forward some information.
And we'll have the auditor put that on our agenda for the 28th of January.
And I can swing by and pick up that says resolution. Very good. And I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, study committee list. I've got that on. Make sure she can pay attention. What Phil's bringing up is the jail study committee or task force. And what Phil was wanting, he mentioned, was that it be in the paper again, so we can try to start getting this list finalized. So we requested names. We have a list started, names that have been given to us by different individuals. So some announcement in the paper would be nice that we're still receiving or collecting those names for interested parties wanting to serve on that committee.
And they should contact
the auditor. He is the contact person.
Would you like that as a brief?
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah, I guess it does. Talk about it now?
Well, the whole thing. Sure. I got invited to the jail this week. And you know, I don't know what process or timeline this is going to take. I think that'll come with the committee. But I would, I'd like to have this, the public discussion here in 2 weeks and on the 28th.
Very good.
And we'll have a little better handle on what size this committee is going to be and what we want them to recommend to us and things like that. It seems to me like the first thing this committee needs to do is if we decide that the committee is going to drive this process, which I think it should, then what role is the consultant going to play? The first question to me seems to be, this committee needs to say, do we need a new jail? If the answer is no, then that'll end that process. If it's yes, then we go into a lot longer process. I'm optimistic and pleased with the names that are on this list now, and not that we can there's certainly room for a lot more and a lot more community support in this thing. So
how big should this committee be?
Well, I'm just standing here just talking. I think this committee could be large. I think if it's properly led, properly chaired, and I think that someone from the public should chair the committee. I think there should be probably a commissioner and a council person on the committee, but that's maybe only to say if the council person or the commissioner saw something going in a direction that just wasn't going to work, I think they would tend to be committed to make a response to that. But I could see the committee broken into subcommittees where you might, one subcommittee might be funding, One subcommittee might be location, one subcommittee might be signs. I'm just throwing these things out. I just am convinced that if we're going to undertake a project where we may spend $10 to $15 million, I want to be real sure that the community is involved, that the community is supported as well as we can be. We're not going to get 100% support on this thing, but I think when it's all said and done, whether you're a critic or a proponent, you ought to feel like that you were heard. So to say that, you know, the committee should be so many people, I don't know what that number is.
I very much agree. That's why I told Mike I want to definitely bring it up and get the paper to pick another issue and, you know, give people that haven't committed yet or are interested, let them know that, hey, this is going to be community driven.
And we'd like to have names before the...
You know, we'd like to have the names by our next meeting.
So by the 25th of January?
Yeah.
By Friday before the next meeting?
So we can get discussion started on it.
I'd like to just ask a question if I might. We were talking just a minute ago about advertisement, and you're talking about that again. I guess my question is, since on a different, totally different related issue, basically the northern half of Tipton County let you all know that we don't get the Kokomo paper because we don't have home delivery. I would like to bring that to your attention, be sure that that's followed up. Maybe even consider.
You misspoke. You meant Tipton paper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I say?
Kokomo.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Most of them take the Kokomo paper because the Tipton paper doesn't have home delivery. That was a big issue and something we just went through here recently. And one other thing that I recently found that would be of a great assistance, and I don't know if it's possible, but you have a website, which I found out through this last issue, and I use that exclusively to know when meetings are, and just some ideas to throw out to be sure that people get informed. That's so huge.
Well, good point. Will you contact Bill Steve and tell him basically the same thing that we told Luann?
Tell him since he left her.
Is the website a doable thing, Bill?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Just give me the information and it'll be budgeted.
Okay. All right. Any other comment on that? Okay. What else do we have on our agenda?
Bill Steve.
Okay, Bill, would you please go to the microphone?
Hello, Commissioners. How are you all?
Good.
Good. Okay. We've had some discussions about security cameras in the courthouse, and I think I've sent a couple of emails to you all about that, and I've kind of settled on this 16-channel, 16-camera system. I think I can get that done, installed, running for an amount not to exceed $5,000.
For $5,000?
Yes. That includes all the cable connections, having it done.
On the computer?
I'm sorry?
On the computer?
You mean, can it be seen by dispatch?
Put the system on the computer?
Yes. Yeah. It's all computerized and has a DVD, a 1 gig or 1 terabyte DVD that would just continuously overwrite.
7-day rotation?
I think it's a 7-day.
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Is it motion activated or constant?
It has that ability to be, you can set up cones for the cameras to look at, and if anything goes into that cone.
Where would you place the cameras?
That's really up to you guys, I guess. We can, if you guys want to take a look at the doors of the offices, so you can put the cameras in the common areas out here to look at the doors of the offices.
I think the guy who does installation should be working there both.
I'm sure there's people that professionally do that.
Yeah.
I would think that the third and fourth floor would be paramount to protect.
Yeah,
I think the first floor too, because everybody has to go through the first floor to get there place else.
I guess, I say that because I guess I'm surprised that before now we haven't been mandated to do something on the third floor.
I think 5,000 is reasonable too.
So, the judge also would like to have a system where he can buzz the door open, the door where you go in and see the ladies there in the court, where he can, you come up there, check in for court. If they want you to come in, they can buzz the door, let you in. If they don't, they can just tell you to go sit down or go into the courtroom. I know we've discussed that in the past. That's not on the table right at the moment, but I'm sure we'll probably be discussing that again.
Oh, where they report, where they wouldn't actually have access to the room.
Correct. To the ladies
That
inside the
certainly
court.
makes sense to me.
If we decide to do this, what are we paying this out of if we decide to move forward with this?
We have CCD, you have,
CCD's what, it's all committed, isn't it?
I'm thinking for the
Heating and cooling.
energy thing, yeah, I think that has been all.
Well, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
We need to look at what it pays for.
Yeah, think about that.
That's something to think about.
Well, that quote, though, is a lot better than what you were thinking originally.
Yeah, that was up in the 25,000 range.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys have any questions other than what he's presented?
Well, I guess, I don't know much about the security. What it would get us would be a record of entrance, exits, or wherever you put it, right, for a specific period of time until it reset.
Right.
Okay.
If you have a question about what, something occurred here, you can go back, pull an extract, and see the same thing we do over at the jail. And then, of course, you can put signs on the doors saying that there's video surveillance equipment in use. That way, so everybody knows
I
it.
don't think they have to do
You don't have to, that is just something that I saw and thought, hey, that might not be a bad idea. Okay? Unlocking times of the doors. Here recently,
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, was there a message? Well, so much for interrupting our meeting.
and you have to do that while I'm standing
Where
here.
are we at? I don't even know.
You want to talk about security cameras?
He's waving at me.
Okay.
You were talking about locking the doors.
I was. Unlocking times of the doors.
Yeah.
Evidently here recently there's been some concern that the doors have been unlocked at 7 and offices don't open until 8. And so there's been a question asked, can we not unlock the doors at 7 anymore, but unlock them at 8?
What do you guys think?
I think it should not be open an hour before the courthouse opens.
Right at opening time or a few minutes before?
I've got the electronic door program to open at 7:55 to handle that time drift.
That sounds good to me.
And who unlocks the doors? Is Ann unlocking the
Ann
doors?
unlocks the manual doors, the system unlocks the back door.
Okay.
I talked to her too, she's okay with it.
Yeah.
That's fine, because everyone that needs access
Should
out
have a
of
key fob.
hours has access.
Okay.
Should have a key fob.
You're really just limiting the public.
Correct.
I'm fine with
Okay, there's been a discussion about offsite backups of our data. such, and I've got some pricing here. It's all approximate. Yes?
Before you go on, explain why we need this.
Because our data is being housed and backed up here on site. If we were to have a disaster where we were to lose the courthouse, per se, our data would be lost with it. Doesn't really handle backups. I mean, that data should be off-site. Okay. There are HIPAA things as far as where you can store that data. So I can't just take it home with me, because there are HIPAA regulations where you can take that information. So and took a look at some agencies or some off-site backup places that are HIPAA compliant. I'm just going to mention a couple, give you some estimated prices, just so that you know the ballpark that we're in. Haven't done anything with any of these pricing, but Mosey is an online backup service. For a 2-year plan, we have 6 physical servers, okay, at 500 meg each, 500 meg worth of data each. We're looking for a 2-year program, about $11,970 for that 2 years to back up our data offsite. Okay. Carbonite is another online backup service. I use that here for the sheriff's office and for the health department. For just individual PCs, it's not too badly priced. It's about $60 a year, unlimited storage. Okay, but when you start getting into servers, because of the type of operating systems that all runs, it's a little bit more expensive. For 2 years, 6 servers at 500 meg each, that's about $7,188. Barracuda allows, or we could have a device here on site that would allow me to do backups, but also give us the ability to store our data in the cloud, which is kind of like the internet type deal. Secured, encrypted, all that kind of good stuff. I don't have a price on that yet. I'm working on that. So I just wanted to let you know that, yeah, we can do these types of things. Our internet speed is real slow, so there are a couple of other ways that we can do that. Get that information to these backup companies for the first backup, and just do incremental, which means that anything that changes gets backed up. Static information that doesn't get changed is backed up once, and you go on. Okay, does that make sense? Just wanted to let you know what I was looking at. Okay. Comcast, the construction for the clerk's office, for the ISAs, which is the child support stuff, and for the court-supported stuff, Odyssey, should happen either this month or the first part of next. While we were at it, I went ahead and got a quote, since the state's paying for the access to this. I went ahead and got a quote for what they call their Metro Ethernet, which is a way to get internet, higher speed internet, and those types of services into the courthouse. Really good pricing. Instead of 5 meg symmetrical, which is what we have now, so 5 meg upload and download on the internet, I can do 25 meg upload and download, which would put us in really good condition to do offsite backups. But I've got all those pricing and still doing some comparisons. I've also asked TDS for their Metro Ethernet pricing as well. Okay. And just to let you know, I'm looking at a company that can come in and work with me on doing a high-level overview of the systems to be able to provide a continuity of operations plan if anything ever should happen to me or the courthouse or, whatever, that we would be able to pick up and continue in a much shorter amount of time than we could do now. Okay. That's it.
You guys have any questions?
That last thing you mentioned goes along with, Jim and I talked about a backup, some
Yeah.
things like that in the IT department.
Yeah. The other thing that I was just going to tell you, that I've developed a online work order system for our elected officials, or you guys need to ask me to do something, you can fill out a ticket and send it to me. That way I don't see you in the hallway and hear 10 people ask me questions and then forget one or two of them.
That's a good idea.
Other one is a in and out. You've seen companies that have the in and out boards, bills in, bills out type thing. So I found an electronic one of those. And so I'm working to develop that, to see if I can't adapt it for here. So, anyway.
Could I
Jim?
ask Bill a
Yeah,
question?
go
Maybe
ahead.
expand, because Bill and I have talked a couple times. I think one thing that I would like for Bill to do is maybe put together a 10-year plan and look at the future to see where we need to be, the courthouse needs to be, and prepare steps to get there, and give us an idea of the cost. I think somewhere in the budget, the $15,000 the council made last year, did we put that in the commissioner's budget?
It's in council budget.
Someplace. Anyway, there's money out there that maybe Bill could hire somebody to come in and help him do that. Then there's companies out there, but I think we need to go into the next century. I think we're a little antiquated in some of the things we do. But I think you need to start up here. I mean, you need to have a goal and ways to get there. And I think as a councilman, I'd like to see that done. Obviously, it's going to be through the commissioner's wishes, but I think that's a good approach.
This consulting firm that you're hiring, can they help you with
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. That's the whole goal of that.
Oh, okay.
Is to take care of what Jim asked about. It's a really good idea. So that's what everything here would help me do. I just don't have the quote yet. I think they're going to wait. They're looking at some internals there to see how we can best do this. So I probably won't have anything for you tonight, but it will be next month for sure. And then I need to come and tell you guys, have you guys okay, because it would involve a contract. And on the Comcast thing, Comcast versus TDS, that's also a contract thing. So that's why I brought it up.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Anything else?
Yep. Martha?
I think a lot of people in the community wouldn't be aware that there is a Tipton County website. Maybe that could be acknowledged with the news groups. Well, not even just some way. I think a lot of people don't know this.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Do you want me to go ahead and do something about the camera system, or you want me to wait?
Is that a firm quote?
Yes.
Decide next meeting.
Next meeting?
28th.
Or,
Okay.
we don't know when you plan it.
Don't even think about that between now and then. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we'd be prepared on the 28th.
Just figure out where we're going to get the money and, yeah.
Very good. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
May I make a suggestion?
No.
Okay. Make sure you get a couple of cameras on the second floor. We have irate taxpayers that come up here at times. We have had, and we've had them come into the assessor's office. And they are very hot when they come in, but usually Linda is able to calm them down before they leave. But there have been some
16 cameras may not be enough.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. 16 cameras, 4 per floor, or maybe some adjustment to that, depending on whether 3 cameras could get full coverage of the floor. Can we add to that system?
No, that's a 16.
That's maxed out at
Yeah,
16.
that's maxed out at 16.
What about a 32 camera?
I did price of 32, but I can't.
Is that the next jump?
Yeah.
Well, and then too, we've got to decide what we want to do with it.
Yeah.
Do we want to just, is it a, like I said, I don't know anything about security. Are we just recording who came in, or are we, is it going to be an enforcement tool? So I think that may not be the proper term.
Cameras.
Jim's been in the banking business, so.
I guess I want to make one point here. Maybe this whole process is a total security problem. Maybe you all need to look at the whole problem instead of just cameras.
Yes.
This may end up being a $50,000 problem, but if the judge wants security up there and need cameras here, and you may need to look at security on the doors, maybe this is a total problem that you need to look at versus just spending $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 for cameras and have to change it.
Well, where you get into a big problem is doing what Howard County and Hamilton County does, to where you have law enforcement, you have all the doors closed except one door, everyone enters and exits through that one door, you go through metal detector, and the sheriff's gonna say, he's gonna need more help to do that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying going to that point, but I'm saying, this needs to be a whole problem.
It's always bothered me that you there's meetings a lot of times on the first floor, and it really gives anyone that comes to that meeting has access to the entire building. All he's got to do is, wait around, everybody leaves, and what you doing here at night.
Well, that's one thing that you say with cameras. They are not a deterrent.
They're just recording what happened.
They're just recording what happened. They're great for prosecution.
Who was there? Yeah.
And to see what occurred. But if somebody is determined, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And so that's what you use the camera for, to aid in prosecution. The back door, I can see putting all of the doors on an electronic system. That one down there that we currently have is getting a little tired. So I can see, improving that system a little bit. But
especially since that door battery operated, it's not even hard to work.
Well, it's because of how the building is open and closed, we kind of had to do that in reverse. There's always power applied during hours. That way the battery or the magnet is not engaged. The magnet gets engaged at night. So, we have to do some things different down there. But that system can only handle 2 doors. We've only got it dealing with just the one. But there's a whole segment of discussion that we can have with entire security.
Well, we probably ought to at least go ahead and get the quote on the 32. Did you have a comment, or is that already answered?
Well, I just wanted to say, I think with other things that we have possibly in the works here about renovation of the courthouse, we might want to be sure that whatever you do look at or decide is something that goes along with that. I hate to see you spend a lot of money and then possibly here in a few months antiquated. You see what I'm saying? I just wonder if we shouldn't maybe, is that something you want to do now, or is that something you want to look at when you get these possible committees going and their suggestions what should happen?
And I think that you guys have given me that instruction, is to make sure that compatibility going forward is built into these systems.
Yeah.
And so when I put a system together, I don't build it for today. I build it for going forward. All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Just unless Phil wants to report on our meeting with Mike Lee. Mike hasn't sent anything back yet, has he? But he did say that the 10 trees on the east and west side definitely need to come out. So I didn't know if he wanted to.
While they do that, though, we'll decide on those other crabs that are in the street lights.
Right. My only point making making that is, I thought the county highway had, before we made a definite decision, wanted to take those 10 out, but there's no, that could come back.
Another chipper was part of that wreck too, so they don't have that chipper. So hopefully the next month they'll have it.
Yeah. Are they gonna replace the chipper?
They gotta have a chipper. So we need to decide on the Crabtrees out there.
I think on the chipper, they need to decide, Brett didn't bring it up today, but whether they want to keep that old chipper for parts.
He indicated to me that they were not wanting to keep the chipper or
Okay.
on the truck.
Yeah,
I specifically called him asking those questions.
All right, chipper.
They asked if it might be combined and just make part of the payment toward a new truck. But we still have to make some kind of correction for the replacement of that chipper.
Yeah, okay. You have anything, Phil?
We need to decide, what we're gonna pay Humboldt and Barnes and Thornburg for the legal accounting fees for the Chrysler.
Did we get Barnes and Thornburg's bill for their work on the Chrysler project?
I believe so.
Then we need to decide where we're gonna pay it from, and then we've gotta ask for the appropriation, which they're meeting tomorrow night. So.
That's great. And bills for Barnes and Thornburg, and I'll have those paid. I didn't get
That seat you there?
I guess.
Why didn't you guys get something for the?
Oh, no, look at that one.
Look at that. I think these are both to you. Oh, God, I hope that.
We've got a letter opener in your drawer, too. We've got a letter opener in your drawer.
You said who has been paid?
Okay, well, he's checking them out. Where do we want to pay for that at?
I don't know. How much is the bill? Have we got invoiced yet?
Well, Humboldt was what, 16,000, so I guess we're gonna be talking 50,000, 60,000.
That was December what? December 19th.
Well, we've got 30,000 in our attorney budget, right?
Oh, this is all right. This goes to Greg, this goes to Greg. Yeah. So is this, okay.
Do you want to take it out of our edit list?
I don't know.
The reason I bring it up is if we take it, it has to go to appropriation, we're talking 60 days. We already got the bills.
We do have the invoices.
We have Humboldt for sure, and you thought we had more.
Barnes and Thornburg was paid $35,000 on December the 19th.
Yeah, but that was probably.
That's how that's 65,000.
Yeah, that's, we're talking about the Chrysler bills.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chrysler. These have to do with the Chrysler building. They have not been encumbered. We have bills, right, for Barnes and Thornburg and Humboldt. What bills are they?
We had Humboldt bill last meeting, and we.
Those will be encumbered tomorrow at the council meeting. Yes, yes. Thank you. She's bringing a copy of the bills. So you
This minutes, Greg, the minutes we had today, did you email them out to electronic mail? The strictly hard copy?
That's your hard copy. I
John
finished
Brooks
those this morning.
wants a copy
Right.
of every minutes we have.
I just finished those about 6:30 this morning. So
We gotta make sure he gets emailed a copy, so we need them electronic sent out to him.
I do too, but you just copy them all because you end up with so much paper.
Yes, it's probably good to email us electronic as soon as one comes. And John Brooks.
What's this letter from the city of Tipton?
Oh, didn't we talk about that,
$6,000.
splitting those fees?
Yes.
I remember that in December.
There were bank service fees that were
For the bonds.
paid for the bonds.
Okay,
Yes.
and this just acknowledges that they're looking into it.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's what I thought.
I'm not sure, just share the expense of the bank
Okay.
service fees.
I'm done with it. What's it take to rescind an ordinance? September, they passed one for the purchase policy that is way off base from what the state has. That one for the $10,000.
What do you want, John Brook, and ask him? I'm gonna say that probably all we have to do is have a motion to rescind it, but I don't know exactly what the process is.
Fill me in. I'm lost.
I don't know exactly how the state reads, but there's a $50,000 that, is it 75,000?
I think it's 50, I believe it's 50.
$50,000 or $75,000, what the state put down in it. Tipton County in 2010 passed an ordinance that says $10,000.
So every expenditure that any department,
That any
anything that
department, yes.
any department that they want to purchase something, if it's above $10,000, they have to.
It's county purchase policy.
It's just across the board. And see, this what Jackie brought up was that if your question about letting the treasurer, letting it go through their budget or the auditor, you have to change that. Well, if you rescind that one, then you can start up, and that moves your limit to 50,000 on where you're allowing contracts or purchases to be made before you have to go into some kind of a bidding process. The state is at 50,000 and we're at 10. But I'd say
We just went to 10 in, you say in September?
September 2010.
2010, we went to 10 for some reason, I assume.
And I think the reason would just be probably more control and oversight on this board, and I don't know that that's necessary. And with the increased cost of things, that puts almost everything having to be reviewed.
And I think
Just like this.
if you're gonna go away from the 50, I think that ought to be a recommendation of the council. If they,
No, do what now?
okay, I would, it seems to me like that the 50, which is the standard set by the state, as you're telling me, if we would want to deviate from that standard, then that ought to be a recommendation to the county council, that we do that, because they're the ones that are continually dealing.
Deviate from the 50?
If you were going to deviate from the 50, yes.
Yes.
I don't know why it was.
But I don't think legally you could, we could make it 100.
No,
Then we could make it less, but not more.
Right, but
Make it more restrictive.
which you did, you made it 10.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm doing, I'm saying, yes, I think it ought to be in 50, unless the council would recommend for some reason that it would be.
That's what I said.
All right.
But what's it take to get rid of that one that was passed in 2010?
But only Humboldt.
Yeah.
So we don't have one then from Rick Hall. See, this is the one that we have to change the second. So what do you think?
Well, I think you just use the same process to rescind an ordinance that you do when you enact an ordinance. You just rescind it, but you've got to have the
We
hearing.
have to have a public hearing to rescind it?
I think so.
that's one from Umball, that's one that's all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the one we didn't pay. We held out of our last claims on the 2nd. Because that is for their work for Chrysler. And that's what we're trying to get at, is how, well, Rick may not have submitted a bill yet.
And no, they haven't. So do we want to ask for that or wait another month?
I'd sure wait till I got the whole bill.
That's where I was at. I thought we should have.
All right. Well, what, next month's council meeting,
We'll just have to wait that much longer. If they haven't submitted it, then that's not being.
If there was anything from,
Barnes and
Can we, by your, historically, can we expect Barnes and Thornburg to be as well documented as this bill?
No.
As far as what they actually did,
Thank you.
yes.
She just brought stuff down on me.
I like this bill.
Oh, yeah, it's really,
It's pretty detailed, there's no question.
Well, I'm sure Barnes and Thornburg will do it if they are properly asked to do it.
All right, thank you. Not aware of anything coming back from her.
Tell Gary Malone we can't pay his bill because Rick Hall doesn't have his.
That's not a very good excuse.
It'll work.
They'll understand.
Then where are we, oh, I'm sorry, taking over.
Where are we, what?
I just wondered, where are we at on the Prairie Reeds, on the attorney fees? We're not at the 65,000 yet.
No, we have 35,000 has been billed.
Okay.
That was paid by, or billed by Barnes and Thornburg.
but how,
Out of
but you
that.
also got Umball to add to that.
I'm not aware of what's from the law.
Yeah. So to answer your question,
Now, they sent, this was for Chrysler.
35,000 for the first bit.
that's not a commingled bill, is it?
No, this is Chrysler project, this one is.
Okay, so whatever your last bill to Umball should be for UV, or Prairie Breeze.
So,
So there's 30,000 there, minus whatever annual charge.
I assume there will be some.
I have
nothing.
It probably will come to you in your email.
I'm sure there'll be some expense on that. Maybe not, maybe for the BZA, but that may be handled through
BZA
the plan commission.
The BZA will be John Brooks law firm. That's who Edson will use. That's who he used before for BZA.
But if maybe we ought to consider at the time, that payment being made against the 65. Something to think about. Whatever there will probably be some attorney fees in regard to the BZA here.
There will be. Yes, there will be.
And it will be John Brook, because that's who the plan commission is, and so maybe we would want to consider paying that from the 65 rather than from our.
I don't think there'll be anything left of the 65.
Well, that's what he's got. We're gonna have to let Greg do some research on Umball's bill for UV. Well, they could probably call that UV instead of Prairie Regional, but I don't know. We just have to look on the bill and see.
Well, that might be a conversation we have with Matt Hack.
Anything else?
Not for me. But that is a good point. Whatever's left over, if there is any, whatever's left over that account we need to use, even if it's a few dollars.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
For John Brooks.
Barnes and Thornburg is already 30,000. Now, we've been working a month since, and that's before on the increase.
Well, then I would submit that.
No, I would suspect that's his total bill for wind project.
Think so? Okay.
Because he guaranteed us it would not
Except
go.
the decommissioning agreement.
That's all part of it. That's part of the deal. I mean, he's been dealing with Mary about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And Burns and Thornburg's supposed to pay up the number, right?
Yeah. And he also guaranteed us it wouldn't cost more than before.
Didn't guarantee us, he said he thought, he didn't think it would.
Okay. Nothing else? Any questions? Bob, why don't you go up there so we can have it recorded?
Am I the only one that gets to go up there?
No, I've tried to have people go up there unless it was already occupied.
No, that's fine. Just a comment and a question. I agree with Jim that I think the courthouse security needs to be looked into in addition to the cameras. I think cameras can be a deterrent, but they don't stop anything. And have you received your November minutes?
What?
The November minutes that you approved?
No. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.